a Sasquatch came out, man, and threw a sign and a tree in the road. The cops came and blamed me and threw me in county for 8 days. 2 of those days I was tortured, held in the cell with nothing to sit on. I was freezing.
All right, you only have 184 minutes, so you better make this good. What's up? Who are you?
I'm Skylow. I am the second craftiest veteran in the nation. I just came in second place for the spoken word on patriotism. They only gave me 3 minutes, so I was only able to highlight the people I highlighted in that,
Did they cut your mic off at 3?
No, it was, you filmed your submission myself. The people at my Auburn Public Theater, thank you. They gave me the stage time, and I went in there and filmed it professionally and submitted my application for the VA process for the Creative Arts Competition.
So what are you now?
Right now, I guess I'm just a able-bodied veteran out here trying to live my dream. I self-funded. I like to paint. I like to do stand-up comedy. I'm coming after Derek the Dress Wearer. He's was a personal friend of mine. He lied to my face. I believe he's a shill. And the gatekeepers, they won't let me play. I have a story. I used to be addicted to heroin back in 2010. The VA saved my life. I went through the SART program. I went through Bath for 6 months. I learned how to relive. And I started to get messages and pick small things up, and I started to change my ways. I like to say when the Bills got Josh Allen, I traded him for Alan Watts and Carl Jung, and I started to meditate, and I started to rock hound, and I was living right on Cayuga Lake, and I'll tell you, I grew up in the city my whole life, and when I moved out to the country, we were right on the water, and the ducks would come in. And there was many days I grabbed a fucking shotgun and I was going to blow them ducks away because I couldn't take the sound of the ducks. But something said, don't shoot the ducks. Enjoy the ducks. So I put the gun down and I sat there and I enjoyed the ducks. And the swans would come in, black and white. And, I really started to learn to love nature again. I've hunted in the past. Shout out Mike Wagner, teaching me how to hunt. I've killed a buck. We were both crying when I did that. We sprinkled his father's ashes on the guts so that way the coyotes will eat it and he'll forever be a hunter. Yeah, I'm still figuring myself out, I think I should be here for a purpose because I should have died from heroin, honestly. I used to shoot so much of that shit into my veins. Every time I would wake up, I would be pissed and I would start it again. And I did that it was a vicious cycle for a long time until I finally said enough's enough and I started living right. And I'm happy for it, yeah.
What made you how'd you stop heroin?
I went and I got treatment. I went to the Buffalo VA. The problem with that is I used to be the dope man, and they would let you out at night to go to a meeting, but every night I would just go get dope. And I knew that I would die if I continued that way. So I asked to be sent to Albany. Well, I asked to be sent away. They just sent me to Albany. From there, I don't like to fuck around, so I never would approach anybody. I just stayed at the facility. I followed the group to the meetings, and I started doing the right thing. And that's when after you finish the 35 days of in treatment there, they sent me to Bath, New York, where I did a 6-month stay in the domiciliary. They give you like a side job. I worked at the bowling alley. Then in the springtime, I started to cut the grass, and I saved money, and I got myself enrolled into college, and I was going to CCC out there in Corning. I had an apartment. Thank you to Soldier On, another great organization, not-for-profit that helps veterans. They helped me get an apartment. They paid my rent for a few months. I was going to school. I met the mother of my children. From there, I finished the semester out, and then I moved with her to Ithaca. Her and I were living in Ithaca. We were both working at a restaurant. She was like the bar manager, and I was just, in the kitchen, slanging on the line. I've done that for many years in Buffalo too. I cut my teeth down in the art district. Cabaret restaurant. It's no longer there, but shout out to John and Nadine. Thank you for putting up with all my shit for the years, and Chef Craig Brown for teaching me everything that you taught me. And then, yeah, we were living in Ithaca, having, regular relationship, something reciprocating for a long time. And, I really loved the girl. We made a baby together. Oh, before that, back up. I did give John Bones Jones, the GOAT, another loss on his record. We beat him in beer pong at Mooney's one night. One of his childhood friends was another coworker of ours at Kilpatrick's, and she called me. I was at home. She's like, "Come out and hang out with us." And I don't drink. I haven't drank in a long time. I had a drink the other day, but it was a social thing. It's not like I have a problem or anything. But yeah. So I just went out with him, and I don't really remember the night because, like I said, I didn't drink often. But I guess we were pals, You asked me if I wanted to take a selfie. I'm like, I don't need one. I got the memory. You know what I mean? And I had to double check in the morning. You wake up with that hangover kind of, and you're a little groggy. Well, my face wasn't punched in, and I didn't have any broken bones, so I know I didn't piss him off too bad. And yeah, so she said I was like a duck in water. It's ironic, or synchronicity, I call it. John Bones Jones and Kate have the same birthday. And
who is John Bones Jones?
The UFC heavyweight champion.
Okay, all right.
They have the same birthday, and she didn't know like what a big deal he was, because he was at the time the light heavyweight champion, and she just walks up to him, "Hey John, this is my boyfriend Sky. He's a big fan," and just left me and went to the girls. And the boys were with the boys, and we just hung out. It was great. Celebrity name plug. I got crazy stories like that. I almost got punched in the face by Doug Gilmore. Years before, at a concert in Buffalo. I was backstage. I knew the cop. He's let me slide back there. And I don't even remember because I was so drunk, but I was trying to tell Doug Gilmore that he was playing for Calgary, and he didn't. I don't know what he did, but he almost punched my face in. So that's when I kind of stopped drinking so heavy. Then, yeah, so fast forward all that shit back to Ithaca. We made a baby. Her parents have a farm. A beef farm out there on Cayuga Lake, Long Point Farms, and right near the Long Point State Park. It's beautiful, beautiful area. Like I said, that's where I found God, basically. He found me, or I've always been found. It just wasn't listening.
What happened on that day?
When I found God?
Yeah, how'd that happen?
Just a lot of, not isolation, but alone, like solitude. I would go out in the woods and just hang out, and walk around and check out the land, because they have a lot of land, I have acres of it. And I would just go to the water. I would take the kids to the water, my kids love the water, And I was working at the Fargo. So if I wasn't in the kitchen, I was in the woods, And things just started to add up to me. I started to think, how grateful I was to be alive, how special of a place it was living there. Because it really is. It's really God's country. I mean, a lot of this country is God's country. I haven't explored the whole U.S., but, speaking with other like-minded people, they say the same thing. There's special parts of this country. I was in Arizona for a couple of weeks a few years ago, and the energy out there was something different that I never felt before out west, like the ley lines or something. I don't know what it was, but that's where I kind of started tapping into, some people call it psychic or whatever. My third eye opened up. It was a veteran program that we went through for cybersecurity, and I was there for 2 weeks. And the deal was, before I left New York, was if I finished this job, they give you a guaranteed placement, $50K to start or whatever, and in cybersecurity. I have no computer skills at all. I'm terrible at computers. I don't like them. I don't like my phone, but you have to have them nowadays. And I was hanging out with this other vet, and he was telling me how he also does real estate. Well, I ordered an Uber, and the Uber driver was a real estate agent, and they ended up linking up. Hope you're doing good there, Reg. Marine. I've been meeting a lot of Marines and helping me out lately. Like I shared with you earlier, Toys for Tots this year, Discover Cards playing with my money. They still have my money and won't send it back. I didn't think I was going to be able to provide Christmas for my kids this year. I was crying about it. The devil came to me that night and told me, come this way. I can make all your dreams come through. You'll have an easy passage. I pretty much told him to fuck himself. And I woke up in the morning to a call from the staff sergeant down in Syracuse. And he said, come on down. We got you, Airborne. So I went down. And, you know, I don't spoil my kids. I get them what they need and or want. My daughter loves to write. She's 3 grades ahead in writing. My son's 3 grades ahead in math. She's 8. He's 7. 2 biracial angels, man. I miss them bad. And so that's when I knew. That's when I knew, like, God had my back, man. Because he provided. You know, I put it into his hands. And that wasn't the only thing that I've put into his hands before. And along this journey, I tried to get here a month ago. And my mouth and the ego of the bus driver collided at midnight in Asheville, North Carolina, in Buncombe County. That's where the word bunk comes from, for the word on the streets. And, you know, I didn't know where I was, so I just followed the bus. And it took me towards, what was it, 40 East and 40 West. So I sat in the wood line. I made a small fire. I'm certified red card wireline firefighter. I made a small fire to stay warm. I was eating my ice cream sandwiches that I bought from the store before I was thrown out of there. And a Sasquatch came out, man, and threw a fucking sign in the tree in the road. The cops came and blamed me and threw me in county for 8 days. 2 of those days I was tortured, held in the cell with nothing to sit on. I was freezing. And just to hold the shit in, the sergeant on duty was calling me an idiot through the door. She's like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. And I told her, maybe I'm an idiot savant, bitch. Finish the fucking question. Finish the statement, I mean. Maybe this is a social experiment to expose your corruption. And she shut the fuck up. And the next time they moved me up to Gen Pop, which I was in segregation in 4 West, she couldn't even look at me. She had to go by every 10 minutes to scan make sure you're not dead in your cell or whatever. And she walked right out the door. She didn't even look at me. I think I was in that spot for 2 days, and then they moved me into Gen Pop. When I went in there, the cellmate, bunkmate or whatever was already in there. I have my suspicions. I've seen a few of his tattoos, and his race kind of leads me towards he was part of the Mexican mafia or the cartel, something along those lines, because he had a shit ton of fentanyl. And I crawled up to my bunk. I took a sip of my water, and I went up to the top bunk, and he said, don't fall out. Now, you know, military guys know fall out means you either fucking suck at running or you fucking lock your knees and you bite face in the middle of formation. Next thing I knew, like the movie, the pictures, you know, from the movie, the old time, it just started going in my eyes, like, and I fucking threw myself off the top bunk like a lead balloon and crash landed on the ground. Next thing I knew, the CO that I was getting friendly with, a young brother named Jay, light-skinned afro brother. Thank you for saving my life, Jay. Picked me up and said, what did you take? And I said, only what you guys gave me. I suffer from PTSD, anxiety, depression, shit like that. And the last word I heard was Narcan. And I woke up in Mission Hospital with my legs shackled to the bed asking for pudding, because when I used to get high, I would eat a box of Fruity Pebbles or some kind of sugary cereal every night. And the sheriff was like, I don't work for you. I'm not fucking talking to you, sheriff. I'm talking to the nurse behind you, because I knew what time it was then. So they take me back to the jail, and they put me back in the segregation by myself, and I see the fucking guy that tried to kill me, and they let him out that next day. The detective came to me and was like, "You're the victim here. You can tell us anything, you know." And I was like, "What's to tell? I was naked before you guys brought me up here, and then I'm exposed to fentanyl, and now I'm in the hospital, and now you just let the guy go."
So the dude had fentanyl in the jail?
Yeah, he had fentanyl in the jail. He was trying to get his book up to get out. And it's funny, you know, I don't know if the cops did me a favor or they were trying to railroad me, but they didn't give me any of my property, for one. I carry a yarmulke with me from my dead friend Jimmy. I asked for a kosher meal that I prove it, and it was in my property. I had 2 bags. I have a small little, like, man purse, EDC, you know, carry bag, which just got thrown into my big, larger bag of paintings and stuff that I had that I was going to bring here and show you guys. But yeah, they checked all that, and they took my money, and they also put my address as 208 Lake, where my address was 2288 Lake. So when I called from the huge list of bond agents to get me out, because I have money, the very first one I called, she was from Queens. And she said, "I'm going to help you, New York. I'm going to get you out of there. Call me in 30 minutes. I called 30 minutes later. She said, "You're homeless," and hung up on me because of the address, I believe, was wrong. I don't know anything about the bond business. I just know about taking care of business. And I've seen enough Dog the Bounty Hunter to know that that's what happened. So fast forward to the, you know, finally at the end of the week, the defense, your public defender, she was an angel. I forget your name right now, but thank you. I owe you a meal. She got everybody that wanted what they wanted. There was 4 of us that wanted to get home that night, and there was one guy that was facing state time. He wanted to get upstate, you know, get his time going. So she was able to pull that all off for us, and we're all laughing and joking, getting the shackles off. And they're like, "What do you do, New York?" I'm like, I dabble in stand-up comedy, you know. And they're like, "Tell us a joke." Like, I can't, you know, it's too dirty. You know, I get the sheriff's there. I didn't want to disrespect, get a charge, you know, another charge at, you know, because I got one for when I came out of the coma from the fentanyl. I fell with a tablet and it broke, and they fucking charged me for it. And that's why I ended up in segregation the rest of my time. But whatever, fuck 'em. And so yeah, so good thing that girl asked me to tell her a joke, and I said that because we both were processed out at the same time. They let me out at 7:30 at night. Property room closes at 4. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know anybody. I had no money, nothing. The girl, her name's Silly Putty, they call her. She's like, "Well, there's a VA hospital right across from where I stay." So I grabbed her bag from her hands, and we started beating feet down the road to there. And I remember we got to Ingalls, and it was just 10 o'clock, so 9 o'clock this time, and you were on live, and I went on there, and I said something to you about getting out, and you asked why I'm on another phone. It's because I didn't have my property. So they ended up holding my property for another 5 days. It was the weekend, Martin Luther King Day. They don't do business on Tuesday, so Wednesday I went down and finally got my property, which was $900 light, missing the tablet. The only thing I care about on the tablet was the submission that I recorded for the VA Creative Arts Competition. My cell phone that I never used, a brand new burner phone. I never even turned it on. And they took one sock and my Ricolas out of there because I ended up having to go to the VA hospital for strep throat and shit from being out in the elements, and I was sick, being in the jail and shit. Thank you to the Warrior Recovery Unit on the 5th floor. The whole staff there is amazing. They say, you know, they helped me out big time, saved me when I needed to be saved. And, you know, that's like another gift from God. Even though it's not where I wanted to be at the time, it's where I had to be, right? I met a hard charging Marine. He's probably 86. His name's Mr. Warren. He lives in North Carolina. I'm gonna have to get down there because I want to listen to his stories because he's a fucking hard charger. He'd be up at 06 every morning getting his laps in with his walker until 10 o'clock at night. He was fucking walking. And we had some deep chats. And he said something to me. It still sticks with me to this day. He grew up in the Bible Belt of North Carolina, and he's not a cusser or swearing. So it blew his mind when his sergeant in Vietnam would swear at him and then quote scripture, right? And he said to me, Sergeant told him, "Let ye not be afraid." And he said, "Sergeant, I'm terrified." Now, why the fuck wouldn't you be? You know, you're in 10,000 miles away from home, going into a jungle filled of things that want to kill you. Um, it's profound, Um, and, he gave me a lot of great life advice. He complimented me on being a good dad. So that's something I didn't have in my life. I know my father wanted to be around, but the relationship between him and my mother being the way she is, I never got to hang out with him. The only time I met my father was when he was up at Roswell Cancer Institute in New York, in Buffalo. uh, I walked I was 17, 16 or stuff, 17, senior in high school, and he was high on the morphine, and he thought he was on a boat. He's like, "Come on the boat, Sky, come fishing with me." So I went fishing with my dad for the first time ever in the hospital. And I met him one other time, and he was a little more with it, and we got to have a talk. And then he passed away. We went up to Jefferson, New York to bury him. And then my grandfather and I were able to connect a lot more, and I found a whole other side of the family that I never had. And when I was going up to New York City to do comedy, that's where I was staying with my cousin Johnny. And then I started seeing things, and things bad would happen to me. Like bad things started happening to me. I was violated. My rights were violated in New York. I went to the shows I paid for to go see. I had, like I said, Derek Dresswearer. Went to go see him up at the stand. That weekend was Anthony and Natalie Cumio. I was vibing with them after the show. He's a beast. He also runs like ultra marathons and shit like Miss David Goggins does in that. And Natalie was looking at my notebooks and shit, and she's telling me, "You need to go to the Moth podcast." So that's what I did. After the show, I was smoking some weed. I get the best weed from Dave's dispensary. Some guy had some synthetic shit, and it set me off. But I was on the train wishing somebody would. I had 3 guys lined up. I was ready to fucking take them out, but with like the classes I've been through for PTSD and like my anxiety and that, like I could recognize the signs. So I immediately got off the train and I went up top, and I found 3 New York firefighters, like Power 369. And they assured me, they put their arm around me. They called an ambulance. They put me in the ambulance. I asked to go to the Manhattan VA. They were like, "Okay." They strap you in like the human fly against the wall. And I fell asleep. It was warm. I was snug. I fell asleep. And fucking I woke up, and they're like, "We're here." I'm like at the VA, and the paramedic, who's a sworn civil servant and took the same oath I took before, he lied right to my face. He said, "Yeah." So I get out, and I'm looking around, and there's no American flag, no signages, nothing. And the door closes behind me. It's a magnetic locked door. And I'm like, by then, that synthetic shit wore off. I was back to myself. And I'm like, I'm not staying here. I didn't threaten to harm myself or anybody else. I didn't do anything. I'm leaving. They're like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And I went to the first door. It was locked. I'm like, "Buzz me out." They're like, "No." So I went around and I kicked every fucking door on that floor. Uh, to me, that's a fucking fire hazard, because there was at least 10 people on the floor that didn't have beds that I had to crawl over, push a bed out of the way to kick a door. So I ended up back into the room I started, because it's just a square, and 10 guys grabbed me, put me on the bed. I was talking shit to all of them. At the same time, I was having a conversation with the doctor. I'm like, "Sir, we're talking in circles here. You can't keep me here." By the time they got me strapped down, is the same time he said, "Release him." So they released me off of the straps, off the bed. And I got up, I'm like, "Buzz me out." They're like, "No." Because the doctor and some other nurse, she identified herself as the nurse. I don't believe she was a nurse. I believe she was a doctor as well, but just under him. And she was German. I speak a little German, especially some dirty German. So I was calling her every dirty German name I could, and then I started kicking doors again. After that, they let me go. As I was just about to step on the public property, they fucking shoved me, broke my glasses, busted my face up.
Where was this?
In New York City, in Brooklyn. And then I went to Manhattan because all I wanted to do was get to the VA. They have a thing called the clubhouse there where you can go and paint, play foosball, have coffee, and just chill and relax.
You ever sold any of your paintings?
No, not yet. I haven't.
How do you get money?
I fund myself.
But what pay? I mean, how for what? How do they? What do they pay you for?
PTSD.
So the VA,
The
you
VA
get a
pays me, yeah.
disability check from.
Disability check. Yep.
Got it.
Yep. So I use that to fund myself. Like you know, this is the American dream, right? You want to work for yourself, be an owner, you know, do your own thing.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
No. Every time I try to start one, I get kicked off.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's the system. I think I am the glitch for the Matrix, man.
What about a podcast?
I never did one.
Do you have a Rumble?
No.
That's like YouTube. What else could he do?
TikTok, Instagram, that kind of stuff.
Actually,
Like I've got a couple Instagram pages, but like I said, it's either I lose my phone or the phone just glitches, man. I can tell you a glitch story. Like when I first realized, so one of the messages that I've received before are there's agents and there's operators. Okay, the good guys are the operators, the agents are the bad guys. I'm sure other veterans can attest to this. Through the VA system, you always run into some asshole that's trying to fuck you. You know what I mean? Or they just don't believe any of the shit you say, and all they want to do is fucking medicate you and shove these pills down your throat that if you and I were sitting here and I just took them pills in 5 fucking minutes, 10 minutes, I'm a zombie. I'm drooling on myself. I'm not the same man. You're not aware. I can't live like that. You know, that's why I smoke a little bit of marijuana at times to, you know, fucking balance myself out. Sometimes I get a little speedy. But it's like, I say, if I'm giving out only like a tenth of the information that I'm receiving at times, not all the time, but sometimes I'm getting some downloads, you know, and I was facing homelessness. This was before I was service connected. And again, Soldier On was there to help me out. And all you do is you go in, you fill out the papers, boom, boom. Well, the lady at the VA wanted to sit in on the meeting. No problem. She was cool last week, so she'd be cool this week. Well, she attacked me. She's a housing specialist, and she's telling me I need to be medicated. I need to be put in a rubber room. She's talking shit about my baby's mother, telling me all this shit, and I'm just taking it because I was trying not to speak ill of people. You know what I mean? I struggled with that with my comedy for a while, but then I realized it's not really me on stage. It's just a persona, right? So I waited, and when we were leaving, and I couldn't take it no more, and I said, lady, listen, last night, because it was the night before, I was painting and writing at the same time, and I astral projected out of my body, and I watched myself do that. It was fucking amazing. And I haven't done it since, but I've done it in my dreams. But that was the first time that I've done that. And she physically shuddered, and like I punched her in the stomach, but I didn't touch her. Me and the guy from the non-for-profit looked at each other and like, what the fuck? I waited 2 days, and like I said, I struggle with mental illness, you know, and I don't know what to believe and what not to believe sometimes. So I called him and I asked him, dude, did you see that shit too? And he's like, yeah. Now, and that's the way we left it, because I know he has to work, you know, hand in hand with the VA, not for the VA, but he has to have a good relationship with them so he can also help other veterans, you know. So we just left it at that, you know. As long as I wasn't the only one to seen it, because he saw the whole fucking thing transpire from her ambushing me in the fucking room to me telling her off in the fucking foyer before I walked out. And that's when I fucking started to level up. I started meditating even harder, and I started working out, and I've been trying to fucking cut sugar out of my life and just do the right things, small things. And, you know, I write constantly, and if I'm not writing, I'm painting, and if I'm not painting, I'm fucking playing with my kids, you know. Like, not having them in my life right now is killing me, but I think it's what I have to do to get where I need to be. That was one of the messages I was told as well, is you're going to have to give something up for a while to get what you want. And I'm willing to give up anything, because I've been through so much shit just to get here right now. Fucking nothing really else is going to stop me. I was blessed by a Tibetan monk before this journey. The spiritual wellness, thank you, Crystal, for that. It was profound. I'm sitting in there and I do mudra a lot. That's another thing. If I don't have my hands busy with painting or writing, I'm like this, or I'm like this, like this, I'm like this, or I'm praying right to the fucking God. It's source, tapping in the source. And along with that and the mudra from the monk, he's like, now envision yourself on the, in the tower or on the temple with Buddha. And I was fucking there, man. I was tapped in. I don't really have any words other than it was beautiful. And the message was from the monk was no more roadblocks. No more roadblocks. And I fucking got paid on the first, and I was fucking gone that day. I didn't give a fuck.
Is anybody looking for you?
Yeah. People looking for me. I'm on paper in New York.
But none of the systems have flagged you. They just haven't.
Nope.
They're not talking to each other.
Nope. I've been through NCIC. I've been through it a few times because I go to the VA. And most recently, when I was here and I was worried about that, I don't even want to say the name,
Okay.
but there's a place called Operation Stand Down, and they help veterans, an organization. I was on the streets. I had nowhere to go, and I don't want to carry myself as a homeless person. So I would leave my pack. I had a big rucksack with all my shit in it, and I left it under the stairs there because it was dry and safe. There's cameras all over the facility, and I'd leave my art there, and I would go run around, do my shit, trying to get housing, fighting with the banks, everything that I was doing during those weeks before I was able to get here. That's what I was doing on a daily. And then one day they said, hey, you can't leave your shit here. All right, now I know. It's out of here. I'm going to take my pack with me now. I have to go look in an apartment, but I'll be back by the end of business day, and I'll get my paintings out of here. Well, my business day runs a little longer. My boss is an asshole, and you're looking at him, okay? So I had to work until 6:15. It's when I got back there. And my fucking paintings, my writing, and everything was next to the dumpster in a fucking puddle. The painting I painted for you, sir, was face down in the puddle. My daughter's note, my daughter wrote like 5-6 pages for her book, destroyed. Like that's the only two things I really gave a shit about because everything else was kind of protected. And I bought a portfolio to carry my paintings with me to come out here, and trying to be professional. And so that fucking set me off, man, and I was pissed. And I went to the VA, and I just went to the back, to the pharmacy area, and they had some desks there. I just sat down and I started painting, and the cops came up to me and like, what are you doing? It was a weekend. And normally they don't let you hang out there, because if you don't have business there, you can't hang out there, which is understandable. I explained my situation. I told them I didn't want to check myself in for this mental health crisis. I just want to fucking chill, and kind of collect my thoughts. They were all veterans themselves. The security guard guy was a veteran, and they were all cool, man. They kept coming back on and checking on me. Do you need a coffee? Do you need anything? Fucking thank you for that, guys. I painted them a picture. I painted the security dude a picture that night, and I just, touching up yours and the other things that I had working on my spirit animals and octopus. So I've been painting a lot of octopuses lately.
Why an octopus?
I think it's because I do so much. Like I'm always doing eight things at once. I've got 8 arms, and I'm fucking dangerous. So I'm a blue ring octopus. And so fucking.
I said blue ring octopus on the live feed last night.
Yeah, you say a lot, and that's why I need one. I need to get one. In the tank when I'm fucking finally settled and shit.
All right, pause. How'd you find us?
Found you guys online.
What were you looking for?
Well, I was always in watch Grand Thumb.
Okay, yeah.
Sean Ryan show and shit like that, and so with I don't know how it works, but if, like-minded, things always go through your filter or whatever.
It's a pretty big company to fucking keep. He's watching Grand Thumb, and Sean Ryan found us.
Yeah. So I saw you guys, and then I saw your podcast with Scully, and you guys are fucking hilarious, and that's when I started getting merch ideas. And I know I sent you a few emails with my hand drawings and
a few thousand.
Yeah. And that's what I do. And so like I just started, and then you guys do a live every night, and it's like I don't have friends, man. I got a cell phone full of them, but none of them ever call me. My mom don't like me either, so I got no one to talk to. So I just talk to you guys every night at 10 o'clock when I was home, in New York, 10 o'clock time there, 9 o'clock here. So I do that every night, and it's better fucking than going to a bar or because I don't drink, and fucking better than hanging out with strangers in cities that can collapse and people don't give a fuck.
What do you mean cities that can collapse?
Well, like it could be any fucking day now, man. Like really, like the homelessness in this city ain't as bad as it is in New York for one, but it's bad because nobody should be fucking homeless in this country. There should be either a place for them to go, or they should be in a facility, getting their mental health and their basic necessities met.
Do you mean like asylum?
No, maybe not. Maybe, yeah. I guess that would be the definition of it, right?
Or we call them psych hospitals now, right?
Psych hospital, yeah. But, not
or
like the
we
asylum.
used to have workhouses.
Right. And like,
but they seem like they were terrible places, like looking at them now.
Yeah, and then, that's why they're so haunted if you go through them.
Have you been in one?
I've been to a couple, yeah. And then, as a matter of fact, when I was in North Carolina, another Marine that I met, I'd love to get him out here when I'm established. His name's Ben. Him and I went to the 5th floor of the old VA behind the new VA. And
in New York?
No, here, or not here, pardon me, in North Carolina, in Asheville, North Carolina. This was before they IVC'd me. I was out.
What is that?
Involuntary commitment.
Okay.
So the doctor committed me there.
To the VA hospital?
To the VA hospital.
How long were you there?
Probably a week and a half, 2 weeks. I was
just fucking dose you up and...
Yep.
So how do you get out of there?
You just got to play the game. You got to have a plan. My plan was I started taking their fucking pills after 4 or 5 days of not taking them and seeing that I'm getting nowhere. I'm just spinning my wheels here. And they're not assisting me to either get here, which is only 5 hours away, or get back home to New York. So then I started to take the pills. And that's where I remember the first time I took it, it was 6 o'clock. We just finished dinner. It was 6 o'clock. By 6:15, I was fucking drooling on myself on the couch. I couldn't even get up to get to my bedroom.
Did you know what it was?
I think Seroquel or something along those lines. I know Seroquel is a big one. They try jamming down everybody's throat.
So it's like jail. There's just a pill line, and everybody stands and they watch you
window.
Swallow them and stick your tongue out.
Yeah. It's not so bad there because it's a brand new facility, and like I said, the staff there is amazing. One of the nurses, Miss Olivia, she won the Daisy Award. It's a award they give out to nurses throughout the VA, and she well deserving of it. The whole staff up there is they all care, But there's those doctors that you have to speak with on a daily basis, right? And they've gone to school for what 20 fucking years almost. They didn't even know who Alan Watts was or Carl Jung.
Who are they? Tell me.
Alan Watts is a philosopher from
Okay.
like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He speaks on duality and religion. He's a religion scholar. He grew up in England, went through Catholic schools there, and then he found out about Buddhism and Taoism, and he delved into that. And other, I don't want to butcher any of their names. I don't really remember, but the people he speaks about were people that he like same as I did. I found somebody that found another way to look at things on life, thinking outside of the box, It's crazy because I was living on the streets for almost a month here in Nashville, going to a church every week, and they're telling me how special I am and, what a great union of the community this is. And they have a whole school, an abandoned school, and I'm sleeping on the streets. They couldn't fucking give me a cot. The guy's fucking driving a Jaguar. His wife's driving a fucking Benz, but, you can't help out. You know what I mean? I'm not asking for money. I was just asking for shelter, man. I was fucking sick of being on the street. All I wanted was a little shelter. I can provide for myself. If I have to fucking trap a squirrel, I'll trap a fucking squirrel. I know how. I got fucking fishing string with me.
What's that look like?
Well, a little snare trap?
Mhm.
Yeah, I learned that squirrel are pretty inherently lazy. So if you give them a ramp up the tree, they'll take your ramp to climb up that tree. So you just take your fucking fishing line, make a little fucking snare, and let the fucker walk
How
himself.
many squirrels have you caught that way?
Just one to try it. I've caught a skunk with the stick
Oh,
in the
shit.
the old stick in the box trick.
Yeah.
We had a,
So it's alive.
yeah. So we were at the house. I, was in between relationships, and I moved into my buddy house, Mike and Rick, the Wagners. They taught me how to hunt and all that, and their father dropped a lot of knowledge on us too as kids. They grew up in the motorcycle club lifestyle, right? And they always said TCB was the most important patch to
What's
get.
that stand for?
Take care of business.
Okay.
And it means you put in work,
Is that used through all clubs, or is that one certain club that uses that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But I was told while I was here that Elvis was one of the first people to coin that. And
All right.
that's
You were told while you were here?
Yeah, here in Nashville.
Oh, I thought you meant one of my guys told you.
No. Well, here out there in Nashville, and that was actually one of the. I don't know if I sent you that picture, but that was one of the merch ideas I had before I even knew about Elvis. It was like be like Elvis and Scully, shoot your TV, because I know Elvis used to like shoot TVs. So
Did Scully shoot his TV?
I don't know, but he could. He's fucking
God,
he's a
okay.
sniper.
All
Ain't he?
right. I got you.
Yeah. So I was just using a play on words, like double entendre.
Have you seen Elvis's place in Memphis?
No, sir. I
have
have
not
not
either. It's there.
I've driven past it, but I haven't gone in.
They moved the airplanes.
I saw the airplanes were parked directly across the street. So
Are they there still?
This was 2 years ago. I don't
Okay.
know. But for the TCB, I'm from California, so it
You've seen it?
Yeah.
It's not an HA thing though.
It was.
It was.
That's what I was going to say. It came around the same time that Elvis started doing it. And on the tail of his planes, it's TCB with a lightning bolt.
Neat.
And that's one of his logos, which is also a HA logo.
Youngest president ever for HA is now the head president for in NPC, National Physique Competition, bodybuilders. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My buddy Alan knows him. I watched an interview with him. Very fascinating.
I grew up around those guys. I was a kid, so they were nice to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if I'd want to hang out with them now because who knows what they're up to.
Yeah. Well,
But
okay,
they're
so
very
back to
nice
Bigfoot.
guys.
But the Bigfoot.
How come we've never seen one?
Well, I believe you have to disturb nature to see that come out.
Do you think it comes through a portal, or you think it's always there?
I think it comes through a portal. I do. There was no reason I should have been in that wood line that night.
So is Bigfoot dogman? Or is that two different things?
I think it's two different things. Bigfoot's its own entity, for sure. And if we're talking like that, then I believe Dogman could be like a skinwalker,
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a human, and it takes another form,
Or
or spirit,
or a demon.
or that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, more not a human, definitely a demon. And I've encountered a few of them.
So I went to a Dogman cryptid conference.
Okay.
Which is, of all places, it was literally here. It was in Paris, and there was, I don't know, maybe 600 people attended. And there's this dude, I can't remember his name. They call him the Joe Rogan of paranormal, and a buddy of mine's friends with him, and it pretty fascinating, man. Like, and I listened to these people talk, and they fucking believe it, like
Yeah.
every one of them. And there was a lot of stories, people on stages, and it seems like every night somebody's like Dogman. Now I got a buddy of mine, Risky Krisky, and he talks about Dogman. And I've never had the conversation if he like really believes it or if he's just saying it for the audience. But I think some of his audience crosses deck. But we have a whole, especially lately, there's thousands and thousands of people on the live feed. So it's interesting what people are into and how they end up on our feed. So, but I don't spend a lot of time on it. Like I love the asylums and, I don't remember what I was searching. I started collecting like skulls and stuff. I had a customer that sent me a snake skull, thought it was pretty neat. And then I started researching, like, could you have a human skull? And you could buy them off Amazon, and even eBay had them. So I just started looking up sanitarium, just old buildings and stuff. And I thought sanitarium was asylum, from sanitarium from,
Yeah, Metallica, yeah.
and Come to find out it wasn't. Started watching some videos, and I'm like, I wonder if I could buy an asylum. And you can. There's a lot of them for sale.
Oh, wow.
And then I started reading some stories about these asylums. And during like Operation Paperclip, we brought all the Nazi scientists here.
Yep.
And a lot of them landed in asylums and continued their experiments. And then in the late 90s, when they freed, Nancy Reagan's whole thing was free and they just opened the gates.
Yep.
So these places sat uncontrolled, unclimated for forever till now.
Yeah, years.
And you've got asbestos, and I mean, these places we were told they were built, at a time, but seemingly they were even older than that.
And it was at a time too where, they would take the mentally handicapped and they would lock them in a room, like families would, before they had these facilities to go to.
Yeah, up until 55, you could put your wife there if she didn't have sex enough or didn't do the dishes. Like there was this whole fucking crazy intake sheet. And they would, and pregnant girls too, they would just, disappear them.
And then the people that worked there were just there for a check, and some of them were fucking masochists and sadists.
A lot of them, it does seem that way.
They would torture.
And then when they started unfitting these buildings from lead and asbestos and stuff, and these crews were coming in, they're finding full like laboratories and operating rooms in the basements and through the tunnel systems and things that had been added on.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of it was in German.
Yep.
So I was just kind of interested, started looking at that, and I'm like, could we go to an asylum? And like when you go to look that shit up, it's kind of vague. Like there's not like for Nashville, right? It shows that Tennessee had 3 asylums. So, okay, where is this asylum at? But when you go to Google Maps Google's fucking really good about removing fucking sites like that. So you got to get in and start reading. And then I read anything I can on the asylums. Well, the one in Nashville has been burnt down. The one that was in Chattanooga is gone. There was one in, Knoxville, it's gone, and then there's still one here, and it's an active facility. And it was originally 1,100 acres, and it's down to 168. And they have a psych ward there, and there's actually 6-7 buildings that all interconnect through tunnel systems. And we've been in there. We were in a building that was supposed to be built late 1800s.
Did you feel anything?
We didn't. I didn't feel. And I asked Amanda that. I go, "Did you feel anything?" She goes, "No, I wasn't really open to it." But we know dudes that were there earlier in the day, and they definitely, like, they're not fucking around. Like we were in the morgue, and they got in the trays, and he went to sleep, and he's like, I was in there for 30 minutes. He goes, I literally fell asleep, like, immediately, not intentionally. Mm-hmm. And he said on his EVP, on his voice recorder, you could hear shit, and you could definitely hear it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting chills talking about it right now. Yeah. And then there in the tunnel system, he goes, oh my God, something came through my arm. And when he saw it on like the night vision or the night shot, this fucking orb definitely came through his arm and shit.
Well, we were up in that old VA. Ben and I went up all the way to the top floor, the 5th floor, as far as we can go till we couldn't go any higher. The top door was locked. We couldn't get into the attic, so we just sat in the stairwell. We sat quietly, and I had my paper, I had my book with me, my notebook, and I wrote Buffalo Soldier, Lucky Strike on filters, Lucy, wife at home, Mustang, and I think one other message. And Ben received the smell of a Marine sergeant who was a female, a black female. He said she was Jamaican by the sound of her in his head, and he could smell her perfume. And that's what we got. We were only up there for maybe an hour or two, not even 2 hours.
And that was a ghost or something?
I don't know what he felt, but he told me he smelt her and he could hear her voice talking to him, and I was just writing what I felt, what the words came through me.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I got that notebook in the truck right now.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
Yeah.
Where were you?
First time, I was in my room as a kid, and I had the door open and the shadow figure was just there. I was scared as shit, and I just went under the covers. Another time, I was in barracks, and a knock at the door. There was no one at the door, and I had a roommate. I thought it was him, and it wasn't him. He was in bed. He's an old Filipino kid. He joined the army to get citizenship. First words he learned in English were "fuck, shit, bitch."
I think that's all of us, though. Spanish or anywhere you go, you get that.
And I always used to get pissed at him because he would always cook Spam in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would stink like shit.
Is Spam a Filipino thing?
Hawaiian.
Yeah, there's Filipinos in Hawaii a lot. I don't know.
But his wife was hot.
There would be, though. I mean, they run the Navy.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
So were you ever homeless in New York?
No. I mean, on paper, yeah, but I've always had a couch because I had family or friends.
Okay.
Uh,
So homeless in Nashville.
Homeless in Nashville, yeah.
Is there different is there different categories of homeless people? Like homeless from the United States versus all these people that are letting across right now. Do they merge? Because
Nah,
it
well,
seems
in
like
New
they
York,
don't.
they're not homeless in New York. They're all staying in fucking the Ritz Carlton or whatever. Uh, and you can't even dare go near those places because security's around you.
I've seen the videos.
Yeah, yeah, I've been there, and that's another thing is the tourist traps. Like in New York, here's a fun tip for you fuckers. If you ever go there for some reason to visit the city and you want to go see the Statue of Liberty, you don't pay the $35 with the funny guy at the hat. You pay $1. You go to the Staten Island Ferry, which is right next door, and it boat gets you close enough to see up the lady's dress, and it's a better skyline. My cousin and I are doing that every night.
Is the Statue of Liberty on Ellis Island, or the whole facility there?
The whole facility, yeah. I
No.
believe that's the whole facility.
So that's because all the immigrants coming in off ships stayed there, and they had to stay there through quarantine, right? And wasn't there a leper colony or something there?
Yep.
And then there's an island that's where they buried just like potter's graves, just mass graves. And then somewhere over there was a whole town. I saw some urbex kids went through, and there was like a fucking church there, and just completely abandoned. And they had opened it at one time to be a homeless facility, and then they demolished the bridge, so you have to kayak across to get there. Yeah, the history in places is insane, and and how old it is. And then you look at buildings now versus how buildings were. Like, what the fuck happened? And they even in Nashville, I follow some Nashville historic pages, and they've just got these. They look like fucking federal court buildings or jail facilities.
Yeah.
And they covered up all
it is the court place in Nashville.
And they covered up like all that architecture still under that facade.
Yep. And they like we were talking about on the way over here. Founded. You see any building that's made out of brick and mortar that looks like a castle, it's either a state or federal building. It'll say founded 1802 or 1929. Well, it's because they found it that way. Back then it was horse and buggy and dirt roads. There's no way you can, like you were saying with the construction nowadays, you need fucking bulldozers and heavy trucks to bring these. I used to do construction too, so you would have people dropping off, pallets of block, and on the masonry side, you're not moving those kind of stone with a horse and a buggy, and they're not gonna be done in a year. It's founded in 1829. It's built in 1830. A year? There's no way, and that's like that throughout the whole U.S. In Canada is also. There's a ton of like hotels, and I think it's Calgary or Winnipeg. I know it's out west, but it's a big old something, and it's a castle, and they say it was built in a year. There's no fucking way. It's just people, and I see it at the facility that I'm staying at now. People just watching the TV all day. I know in the local Nashville area, there's a boy missing. He's been missing for 10 days. He's 15. How does that happen with all the cameras out nowadays? I hope it's not real. And
Isn't
I hope
it 88,000 a month go missing children?
Where do they go?
Well, I mean, we know where they're going.
Yeah, I know where they're going too. Underground, and they're being taken and slaughtered or tortured.
Yeah, who's the customer? Like, who's the customer for that?
I believe it's the politicians, people in Washington, because there's no other people that can cover their ass that much. I couldn't get away with it. I know you couldn't get away with it, but we're held accountable for any infractions of allegedly throwing shit in the road. Like they prove it. My fucking handprints were on the fucking sign or the tree. Like I said, it was a fucking Bigfoot. It was either that, or like I said, look at the boxes, the VHX for me. Some fucking kid was like, when I was trying to get here, and he's just a bus pass hander outer. He's like talking to me about my mental health diagnosis. I almost gave him a fucking front kick. When I was locked down for those 2 days, I was like, I asked the guard, can I give you my artistic impression of Leonidas? He's like, sure. I'm like, well, this is him talking to you in 2024. And I just started kicking the door, yelling, this is Sparta. I did that till I was exhausted because I was so cold. That's the only way I fell asleep. And that cunt with the red hair that was calling me an idiot, she was like, that door cost $500. I just laughed at her. I was like, that's nothing. I'll pay the
So why did they let you out?
They said it was 8 days time served. Like I said, the public defender.
You think that's just when the federal money runs out?
I think it was just because, the money, they had to hold me. They got how much? I've heard it was like up to $1,000 some a day to have me housed there that the state got. And they kept me there for 8 of those days, you know? And they were fucking with me the whole time. And not only just me, like I seen a guard go up to a kid. He was on the commissary computer, and he had his taser out. He didn't tap tase him, but he made the sound, and it scared the shit out of the kid.
With him.
You know, that's fucking. What if, like, I met a kid. As a matter of fact, it's a kid's sister. All right, let me bet. The girl silly that brought me up to the VA that I was out processed with. When we walked up to the Ingalls, we were sitting at the Ingalls. I was on live with you.
So she took custody of you. That was your ride home, or
yeah, we walked. She didn't have a ride either.
Silly putty girl.
Yeah. She had to walk. We had to walk a mile.
Or she was an inpatient.
She
also.
was an inmate too.
Okay.
A female inmate, and that's
it's
how
it's
we
a
met.
trip that they call you inmates, and you're not patients any longer.
Yeah. Oh, this was at the jail in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, not the VA. And you know, she was talking about her brother. She hopes that he's around. And when I was on with you, he came up to the window. It was like silly, and oddly, him and I have the same birthday. And I think that's the same day you got bit by the rattlesnake, October 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
86.
That's the year I won MVP too. But it's just crazy. And he was telling me about when he lived in Florida, he was tased and tortured with a taser by a cop. So that CEO were to do that to him, he might turn around and slapped him, or you know what I mean? Like, and that's just setting somebody up for failure.
Yeah, and that's a 2-year
it's
enhancement
not cool.
on the charge. Yeah,
exactly. And you know, it just pissed me off because that sergeant bitch, she's supposed to be a leader and showing her, you know, her other COs or corrections officers how they should conduct themselves.
Well, who grows up and goes, I want to be a correction officer? Now, if you've been in any of the facilities, you know there's some decent dudes there.
Yeah, for sure.
But most of them aren't.
No,
most of them are there because they have power over somebody, and they did not have any power through their life.
They were bullied. Yeah. They were picked on. A lot of officers are like that.
It's the same thing through the asylums. Like they were never supposed to have as many people as they did in them, and you had captive audience there, and most of them were females. And there was no oversight over the guards. I mean, they would close down. They never fixed a wing. They would build another one and then put a plywood or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would find patients who got in stairwells that had just starved to death or didn't have any water, and they find them 6 months later.
Families are asking. Mm-hmm. They have no accountability.
And a lot of families, a lot of families just put their problems there. They don't.
Correct.
Nobody comes looking for those people. They're off the charts.
There, right.
So you had a bunch of people that got pregnant. You had whole baby sellers. I mean, you have Georgia Tan out of Memphis who was taking children from Bolivar, and I was in the courthouses. There's 2 courthouses, 2 judge rooms in the asylum. Right out, you come into the asylum up these big steps, and then there's a little waiting area, and as right as you come around, there's 2 courtrooms, and they were just inducting women left and right. And then these people, all these men had access, so they would get pregnant or they'd come in pregnant.
Rape.
And there's a ton of them like, where's my baby? Well, your baby died when you were given birth, right? Well, Georgia Tan she was taking all these children. She had a big apartment in Memphis, and there's pictures of just couches full of children, just swaddled up babies. And there was a period that she killed 120 of them with, I don't remember what it was, but it's akin to like baby Tylenol now. But her family members, I think it was her daughters, actually found the records and stuff after she had died. And they came forward with a lot of this. There's a book called The Others. I can't remember what it was called. There's one of the children that was adopted wrote a book about this. And she was in it with these 2 judges. So the judges would give her the babies, and she was selling the babies for $14 a piece.
Wow.
And was
that big money back then?
I don't know. It's not that long ago. It was in the 60s.
So $14 ain't really that
And she was selling these kids off. But Yeah, there was a whole thing about how she had disposed of all these kids, and they were finding bodies and stuff.
In Canada too, they did that with
The natives.
The natives in
They're
Canada.
still finding mass graves from them. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it here too. It
Oh,
happened
yeah,
in the
yeah,
United States too.
I believe it.
I was watching something Native American stuff yesterday, and he said you have this whole generation of people that never taught their kids how to speak the native tongue because they were brought up in the government schoolhouses, and it was beat out of them and removed from them.
They lose it after a generation.
Within I said that earlier, didn't I? I said within 2 generations, and really we can do it even faster now.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even have to teach kids anymore. We can just fuck them up with this.
Exactly. Where I'm from in Auburn, I was told by a psychic there that when they built the prison, because there's a federal prison there, at Supermax or whatever, and they put that on Crow land. They slaughtered the Crow people, and they put it right on their fucking burial grounds.
We build a lot of shit over burial grounds, especially some of where some weird shit happens. It's almost like it's because it opens it to a negative energy or something. I think it's intentional.
For sure. And there's I couldn't count them. That's how many Crow there are in Auburn, and artists have painted them all throughout the city and that. And I had the brilliant idea to, if I ever, God forbid me, go back to New York other than to get my kids and my guns, I would love to teach them all to steal from the rich and give back to the poor, because Crow are fucking smart. You can train them.
You're talking about crow animals.
Yeah, the bird.
The bird. I thought you were talking about crow Indians.
Well, I was at first, but now, like, the bird has migrated there, and they live there. I mean, thousands of them. Thousands and thousands. I've never seen a murder a crow that big, like, in my life. That's where I got the idea. Hey, I should teach these fuckers how
You ever see a baby crow?
No.
No, nobody has.
Nobody.
Right.
Wow.
Have you ever seen? I mean, it's just because they're really good at making nests and shit.
Yeah.
But crows are. You can teach them. They can talk. If you leave your windows open, we have a friend that has a crow. She doesn't have a crow. There is a crow that follows her when she leaves her house and goes to work, and then the crow every morning flies with work, and the crow leaves her things. If you leave a crow something, the crow will bring. There's all kinds of videos of people who leave their window open and a drawer, and the crow will put watches and change and dollar bills and
funny.
shit.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I had chicken pox real bad, and there was a crow that would come to my window every day and like peck on it a little bit. And I remember he had a fucking shiny yellow beak, and he would be there every morning, fucking pecking on my window.
Ravens too.
Yeah.
Super smart. They can problem solve.
Are they, I know they're different species in that, but where do ravens live? Like, what's their general area?
I think it's just different parts of the United States, yeah. But there's tons of videos of crows like trying to get water out of a cup, and they can't reach in, so they pick rocks up to raise the level of the water.
Yeah, so smart.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, it's crazy when you notice things like that in nature, You can see how an animal, like, I never knew how tough animals were until I started to hunt. I seen a deer get shot with a 12-gauge slug and still run fucking 5-6 miles, and still get up and run again after you track it down trying to finish it off, or you see them get hit by a car and they slide and they just pop right back up.
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah. You'll see them running around. It's usually us that kills them.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a 3-legged dog running around that's upset that he has 3 legs. He doesn't think about it beyond the incident. Same with deer. It's us that fucking kills the 3-legged dog, or it makes it easier to be captured by another animal.
The guy I sat with upstairs, Sam, his dog is named Sam. His name's Ben. He's a Marine with a TBI, a real bad one. And that's not weird thing is I've met 2 Marines in North Carolina, both with TBIs, both different jobs, but their TBIs were very similar. Like, they could be having a conversation and then they just get really off the rails, but more of like imaginary. Okay? I have a dear friend that I went to high school with. He got blown up in Iraq. He died 3 times and he came back 3 times. He now lives in Michigan and all he does is ice fish and fish. But his TBI, and he was in the Army, his TBI is nothing like those 2 other Marines that I had. So it's fucking crazy how your brain handles trauma, or when it's exposed to trauma, how you deal, like how you deal
Well, I
with
think
it
it has
after.
to do too because your brain tries to repair itself, right? Like neural pathways,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they just don't connect the same a
Right,
lot of
right.
time. Our buddy Lance has a head injury, and we'll be talking, and he's like, I don't remember what I was saying. As soon as you refresh him, and he's like, I don't remember if I'm imagining this or if this is real.
Yeah, I
And
get it sometimes too.
yeah,
Yeah, and
I don't have a head injury. I fucking do it sometimes.
but you mentioned a three-legged dog.
Yeah.
Ben has a three-legged dog. His name's Sam, and he's a hard Chihuahua mix. And he played chicken with a car and won. The car got totaled. He only lost a leg. And he's fucking. I was watching him the one day, and he got away from me. He's fast for a little fucking three-legged fucker. He ran into the Ingles, and I didn't know all the girls, front-end girls, knew him. And I was like, "Watch out, crazy dog! He just bit me," you know. And they're like, "Yeah, right. This is Sam." And they're giving him love and that. I'm like, "Oh, okay." I was just trying to score some chicks, but it never works.
Have you ever been in any closed down tunnel systems or anything in New York?
No, but in Buffalo, we used to go to the train station all the time.
Is it underground or is it above ground?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. You underground, you go during the day because of all the homeless that would congregate there at night. But at night, we would always go and drink 40s on the roof and smoke blunts. And then we started to play paintball and shit in there too when we got paintball guns.
Yep.
We were up there all the time. And that place is creepy.
What happens if you go in the underground at night?
You got to deal with the homeless.
What does that look like? Are they going to eat you?
They could fuck you up
But why would they?
because you're trespassing on their property.
Got it.
From what I noticed, living out on the streets in North Carolina and in here, they get encampments, right? And then they'll
Do
have
they get in or they're put in?
they get in.
Okay.
So
they
help
pack up.
themselves. Yeah, same thing I was doing here in Nashville. I found an abandoned building and I helped myself to it. First couple days, I stayed, across the street from it. I was staying in a little across from Zany's behind the subway on the top part. It was still public property, so I couldn't get caught for trespassing because I didn't want to get in trouble. Like I said, I'm still technically on paper. I didn't want to get ran. So I stayed in public property as much as possible, but then the weather turned. After the night, staying in the dumpster, fucking lighting kindling and little swizzle sticks all night and staying warm and eating chicken nuggies, I was like, fuck this. I went over to the building I found, and I camped out in the yard for a night, and then I had to take a piss, and I didn't want to piss like even anywhere there, but I had to piss bad. So I pissed, and it fucking went underneath the door. I'm like, it's not sealed. I fucking kicked it, and it opened. I was like, fuck, I was out here for a day and a half. I was out here for fucking how many days?
What that building used to be?
An old antique building. I guess it's scheduled for demolishing. There's a young lady called Miss Peggy. She's kind of known out there in Nashville for painting. She goes there and paints old buildings and that are supposed to be torn down. I called the real estate person on there to see if how much it would be, how much to buy it, because it's a special building. Something drew me to that area. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the it's called the 8 room. It's got octopus on it, and it's never open. It's got the coolest door I ever seen. A big brass
In the building?
on the front of the building. Yeah, it's called the 8 room.
But you don't know what it originally was used for or anything?
The building I was staying in, it was an old antique building. I don't know before that.
Like
I
a
don't
factory or a hotel or?
know. It's one level, and Miss Peggy said it's been there as long as she can remember.
And then that's not the number 8 building.
That's not the number 8. That's across the street. And that building, they're never open. That's why I took it as a sign. Like I said, my spirit animal's an octopus. I just been following signs lately. So that was there. So I was camped off to the left of that, like I said, on public property, staying down a little on top of a hill so I could keep my eye on the competition for the comedy.
When you're staying in the abandoned building, what's your biggest concern?
Police.
Not other homeless?
I had it locked up. I had once I was in, there was one of the old school. You slide a board
doors.
in, no one's coming in.
Was there any running water or anything in the building?
Yeah, I had water for a little while until it ran out of the
Pipes.
Yeah, but I had water. I was able to flush the toilet, take a couple shits, brush my teeth and that. But I wouldn't drink it because there was even a sign that said, the pipes are old, blah blah blah. So I wasn't trying to drink it, but it was just another thing of warm, safe,
Yeah.
and
Camping inside instead of
camping
outside.
inside, yeah. And I thought about on nice days when we had a few nice days there. I went out and I put all my wet shit on the roof, and I fucking would nap on the roof. I would sit there and paint and nap and bake in the sun like a fucking lizard, and
Now I'd be worried about a fucking police helicopter seeing me or something.
eh, they're busy usually. I seen them.
Well, they should be busy.
Yeah,
But
they're up in the air, right?
They're busy doing shit that's not fucking.
Yeah, I always give them the wave. I either see them flying, I give them the wave, or
What's the craziest shit you've ever seen?
like violence, or
Whatever, anywhere, whatever.
I've seen people get shot right on the street,
Like in New
Buffalo.
York or somewhere in Buffalo.
I've seen people stabbed, fights. I used to get in a lot of fights too. Fucking when I drank, it was like a gang of us. There's 5 or 6 of us out. Fucking we beat the shit out of 3 straight troopers in one night because the guy hit his old lady at our bar, like one of our neighborhood bars. They made a mistake because I stayed off Clinton Street, Clinton and Bailey area, and across the street was our elementary school, Houghton Academy, and behind that is Houghton Park. Well, we were at We Checks, and these shit happened with these cops. We didn't even know they were cops till after we beat the fuck out of them. And they go across the street, and we're following them. Little did they know, the fucking Mike's little brother and all his fucking goons were right there too. And it was like cell phones just came out. So it was just like and it was the chirp ones, the old Motorola chirps.
Nextels.
Yeah.
We had those.
Yeah. So it was like chirp, chirp. So we had them cut off front and back. We fucking stomped the girl was like, "They're cops, leave them alone." This guy your face is still bleeding, honey. And now you're gonna defend this guy. You just punched your fucking face in. That's a problem with that. You know what I mean? So
Had you ever been to, what's the New York park in there? Central Park.
Central Park.
You ever
yeah.
been to Central Park?
I've been there. Yeah, I've been to Washington Square Park. I almost got shot there.
That's the one where the shit goes down, Washington Square.
Mm-hmm.
And there are tunnels under Central Park.
Oh yeah, there's tunnels all over New York, everywhere. I haven't spent enough time in the city. I was just a kid when I lived there, and then 1 or 2 visits I remember as a child, and then when I would go up there as an older, 20-ish, 21, we would only go up there to buy pills.
What's the craziest shit you ever saw in Nashville? Anything crazy?
Just the other day, I almost saw an old timer shoot another guy because he ran people out of church. Like, yeah. I chimed in on it on the live. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
I was on the bus going down. I think I was going to an open mic. It was a Monday. Yes, it was, because Sunday, church day. Monday is open mic at a thrift store that I go to, and I'm on the bus, and the kids are on the bus too. The school just let out, so there's children on the bus and work people coming home from work. And there's an old guy. He had a cane and a walker, and there's another guy. He got on the bus, and he sat down and he looked at the old timer, and the old timer's like, "Fuck you. You ran people off of church. What the fuck's your problem?" The guy said something back to him. He's like, I got one in the chamber. And he was ready to pull his shit. And the fucking bus driver stopped the bus, was like, calmed it down. And I remember I chimed in. I thank God I had 2 fucking tourniquets on me because,
What kind of tourniquets?
fucking.
You don't know the brand or anything?
No, I don't know the brand. I'm poor. Fucking whatever I could get my hands on. Didn't order it from Wish, commie bastards, but I just got. I love to support local business, so I'd always go to LZ Army Navy store, in Auburn, New York. That's where I got this shirt from. So I'm gonna use that it's a concealed carry shirt in New York. You can't.
Did it come with all the mustard on it?
Oh, that's yellow.
I know
paint.
what it is. I'm fucking with you. I know it's not.
I have a
mustard.
vendetta against mustard. Since I was a kid, I'd always get it all over me.
Yeah, I don't even eat mustard, and I'll get it on if I always wears black shirts.
Yeah, and but I use this because I've been working on a bit of a one-armed blind man counting change. So I'm gonna use that third pocket.
Where's the best hot dogs come from? Isn't New York known for? No, I'm thinking Chicago, huh?
Yeah, Chicago. But you can't put ketchup on there. I used to date a girl from Chicago, out in the suburbs, rich. She's Asian, Japanese girl.
So how the fuck's hot dogs come in with her?
Well, because she told me that because I put ketchup on my hot dog. She like, don't do that in Chicago. You'll get fucking ridiculed. It's a big deal. So
All right.
that's why. Yeah.
Who has the best pizza?
New York.
What's different? What's the other one? Chicago?
No, they got deep dish.
So it's Chicago or New York. Those are the two that battle, right?
Chicago has like the deep dish. It's not even pizza. It's like a pie.
Pie.
Yeah. I would say Buffalo after New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just the way it's prepared. I haven't really eaten pizza because I either was incarcerated or have no money, so I haven't eaten pizza anywhere else other than like Papa John's or Domino's. But that's just all the
pizza.
same everywhere across the country.
Yeah.
It's like they knock all these fucking cool buildings down, like the building that I was staying at, and they just put more commerce shit in to make you spend the money that you don't fucking have. I noticed that when I was in Asheville. The reason I got kicked off the bus in the first place was because I was saying God bless to two kids that were leaving their town looking for refuge away from drugs, not knowing that they were moving to a fucking new town full of it. Nothing but zombies walking around there on fentanyl or meth, and they're on the bus all day just riding it back and forth to stay warm. And the reason they're there is because they're tracked by the system. They either get picked up for fucking camping in spots where they can't camp, or petty larceny, stealing because they have no money. So then they get caught in the system.
Could you take those? How old are those kids?
They were probably in their 20s. I wouldn't put them over 25.
If you took them and gave them a job, would they stick with the job, or would they be like, fuck this, I don't want a job?
I don't know where they were at in their positions, but at least they were trying to take the steps to maybe potentially get a job in a year or two, or 6 months if they can get themselves clean,
What's out on the streets in Nashville right now, drug wise?
Everything.
Everything.
And
everybody has just different choices, or does it always
different
end
choices.
at one thing?
I've been offered heroin, fentanyl,
for
crystal,
to buy or for free.
both.
How do people who are on the streets have no housing probably because of drugs, right?
Yeah.
So they end up on the street, and they can afford to give away drugs.
They fly signs, bro.
What's that mean?
You take a sign, and you either
So they're panhandling.
Standing out by the exit ramps and that.
But those people make more money than I make.
I know.
Like we've said we should do a YouTube channel where we go around and just see what we can collect.
I'll do it. I've done it. Like I went. It was a Sunday. It was last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago. They had a soccer match or whatever going on, and thankfully I've just got new dentures in, new teeth in.
Yeah, let me see that. Who did those for you?
Because I don't like the bottoms. They suck. And the reason I don't have good bottoms is because when I was freezing the one night, I went to the bus station in Nashville, went up the elevator at 5 a.m. to get a little bit of warmth, and I came right back down, and one of the security guards was there, and he was talking shit to me. So I talked my shit back, because all security guards are supposed to observe and report, right? This guy pulled out his fucking walkie-talkie like he was going to hit me with it, like I was going to flinch and be scared. If he would have swung at me, I would have fucking shoulder tossed him, you know what I'm saying? I would have just used him and fucking launched him. But he fucking kicked the fence, and it hit me right in my body. I didn't have my teeth in that day because it was the middle of the night, and it hit me right in the fucking split my gum. I had to go to the VA, to the dental the next day to get fucking treatment and shit.
So the VA did all that for you?
Yeah.
So they pulled all your other shit out?
Yeah, Dr. Cow.
Was it painful?
Yeah, because they want to give me nitrous.
So you did not take the nitrous?
They gave me fucking shots of Novocaine. They don't do nitrous at the VA because of pregnant women. It could leak out and cause harm to the baby. I didn't know. That's why I asked. That's what I was informed by Dr. Cow.
Okay, so they did not put you asleep.
Nope.
You did it while awake.
Uh-huh.
They pulled them out one at a time. Mm-hmm. You hear that shit in your head and everything, don't you?
Yeah. But thankfully, she had small little hands that fit perfectly in your mouth. She loves her job, and she's a great doctor. Like,
was it quick?
It was like 4. I had to go in 4 times, four procedures. They took out the tops. They took out some of the bottoms, and they left a few. Because the tops were fucked up. Just years of drugs and neglect, and then I started getting my shit together. And I'm like, I can't walk around like this, you know. And then
I completely forgot you said something about it. Like I never sat here and thought, oh, his teeth. Like I never looked at your grill.
yeah.
Yeah, but I do remember you saying something about that before.
And you know, I got hit in the face when I was a kid with a baseball, and it knocked all of my teeth to the top of my mouth and broke my upper jaw. So that was a traumatic experience because the guy just sat on my chest and yanked my teeth forward. And he was like, "You're lucky if you can save them," and I ended up saving them. You know, I had strong roots or whatever.
Did they wire your mouth shut or anything?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
So what do you eat during that?
Milkshakes and soup.
So that's a real. I remember seeing that on like black and white TV shows and shit.
Yeah, and it was funny because my buddy had a broken jaw too. He was sucker punched. I seen that. Some kid came up behind him, sucker punched him, broke his fucking bottom jaw.
Man, it's a different fucking world now.
Yeah, man. And I remember like we skipped school the one day with a bunch of us at my house, and we were like smoking weed. We both could only smoke like out of the fucking tinfoil pipe that we rolled, you know, like.
So there's weed readily available all around Nashville. I smell it all the time.
Yeah, it's THCA. It comes from.
But what about real weed on the street? Can you just get it?
Yeah, I can get anything.
So if I wanted to go buy weed in Nashville, would I just find like they'll find me? I'll have to look like I want some weed, or where would I go?
You could just go you can go right to the bus station.
Bus station.
Go right to the bus station, walk around the central bus station, and be like, you'll see people.
Anything
smoking.
you're looking for is on the street.
Anything you're looking for. They'll come up to you. They'll ask you. I was standing there. There's a homeless lady. I forget her name, but I call her Mama because she's old. She's in a wheelchair. She shouldn't be out there. She's stage 3 cancer. She shouldn't be out there. She should be in a home. They're trying to get her house. She told me. She put the paperwork in. They told her the 15th. That was last month.
Really, where she should be is in Mexico because they can fix that shit.
That's another thing, yeah. But
well, I should say they will fix that shit.
Right.
We could fix it.
We could, but we choose not to. But she shouldn't be out there. But she's also the type that would go around and cover people up. But I was standing there talking to her the other day, and I was waiting to go to an open mic, waiting for my bus, and some guy comes up. He's like, "Do you have any crystal?" No.
Meaning meth?
Yep.
Is that still a thing?
It's big time here.
I thought it's like crank or water or some deviation of that.
I guess from my experience, and crank is like speed, but that's the shake and bake that you hear.
Got it.
They take that ephedrine.
Yeah. I saw a police Suburban, and when I looked at it, I go, what the fuck happened? He said it was a mobile meth lab, and it had eaten all the everything was rusted out.
Oh,
inside.
yeah. I know people that make the shake and bake. You know,
it's more dangerous. It's more dangerous, though, right?
Yeah, you got to do it. You take a bottle, like a Gatorade bottle, you fill it, you fucking pull batteries apart, you drop the fucking.
Got it. Okay. So when I moved here,
yeah,
I was buying lithium batteries.
Lithium, that's the word.
And I was buying a lot of stuff, but the three things that flagged it was lithium batteries, salt. It was lithium batteries, salt, and camping fuel.
Yeah.
I'm a prepper. Like we had, and a sheriff came over and he's like, "Hey,
2 or 3.
Just so you know, your name came up because you were buying these from Walmart." I go, "Yeah, I buy them all the time." He goes, "Yeah, we know."
Yeah, if you were buying Sudafed or something.
Yeah, I wasn't buying Sudafed with it.
If they would have been kicked ATF, or probably came in and shot your dogs.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was years and years and years ago, but it's just a trip. The things that happen that you just have nobody would have fucking thought of that.
People that don't know, and that's the thing is like I've been put on, game. That's what I say. People have been putting me on game my whole life.
What does that mean on game?
It means like old timers. They tell you how to move through the streets.
Got it.
You know, I had the idea I met a kid out here. He calls himself Flame. He's a YouTube video gamer, but he's living on the streets.
Calls himself Flame.
Yeah, that's his handle he's Call of Duty.
Does he make money?
He should.
But he's not.
He's on a team, but right now he's not living, but he was on what they call
living, that's what it's called when you get off the street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was, when he was in Florida, he was on one of the best, clans, they call it in the gaming world, the clan, so he was doing that for a while. I've seen it. I watched his clips. The kids.
So why is he here?
He moved back from Florida because trouble with a woman. That's what he told me. And he was either get arrested or move back to Nashville. So he moved back to Nashville. He got himself out of that situation. He's 23.
But he's on the street.
He's on the street right now. And he just, I gave him some money, a couple bucks that I had, to get him give him some new clothes, and he went and he got himself one of those jobs wearing the red coats. The safety people in Nashville, they ride the Segways, some of them.
Okay.
So he got in there, and he's just waiting for his drug test to pass his drug test and that, and he'll be working. So.
Will he pass it?
Oh yeah, he passed it. Yeah, I wouldn't have given him money if he wasn't gonna pass it. I'm not gonna, fucking support a fucking pipe dream. You know what I mean? But I could be his dad. He's only 23. You know what I mean? And he's very smart. He said some things to me that I didn't realize. I know them now, but I didn't realize them until I was in my 30s. He's an orphan. He was brought up through the system in Florida.
Like a foster system?
The foster system.
Yeah, that's crazy shit, too.
Yeah, but he was lucky because the lady he had has been doing it forever, and she's an angel, and she's won awards, and she's known out there. So he was very lucky in that sense, but he's still introverted. He's a very introverted kid. Like, I've tried to get him to come to the open mics with me, just to get him out, because he's just sitting in that fucking building. It's sad, dude. There's no power. There's nothing. Like, we have to charge our cell phones at the gas station. There's a power out box outlet.
You guys need some solar shit.
Yeah, well, he don't have money, bro. He's got ideas and he's got a plan. He found some a program that's and said, if you come up with X amount of dollars, we can get you into an apartment. He's taking the right steps. Some people see that's the difference between being a bum and being homeless. I think.
What's the difference?
A bum means you accepted it. Okay. You're gonna live with it. You're gonna just keep living at a camp or keep flying the sign every day, or.
But couldn't you because you can make good money doing the sign thing, right?
I was told I call these kids the Goonies. There's a pack of them. They're all under 20, 21. They're under 21. They're a couple brothers and a few of the friends that clicked up, and they fly signs. The kid told me, it's funny because he put on his sign, too handsome to hook and too honest to steal. And he said he made $125 in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit.
And everybody out there has a cell phone, right?
Mostly, yeah. And they
Who pays for those?
The government. The cell phone that I got right here, this one is a free phone.
Is that an Apple phone or what is it?
No, it's a fucking Android Max West.
Tracking device?
Yeah, tracking device, exactly. When I would leave this thing without it, the guys say it would go crazy without me around it. It'd start flashing red, like pinging, But when I was crawling in to the hide the one night, I left my fucking charger out like an idiot, so it got stuck to a branch and left my cell phone that I paid for in the rain all night. And when I got back to it in the morning, it was destroyed. Fucking, I didn't know what to do. Now I have nothing, Blessing, when I got to the fucking bus station that morning, they're giving away free phones.
At the bus station?
At the bus station.
Just like an NGO or something?
If you have a ID and you qualify, they run your name through a system. I qualified for it. I took the free phone.
What fucking system that is.
I don't know. Yeah, but they were just there again.
Are there people walking around for homeless giving vaccinations and shit out?
No, I didn't see any of that.
Because I would be curious what the fuck they're giving them,
Yeah, I'd be curious too. One thing about
how come there wasn't no COVID out for the homeless?
I don't know. I wasn't on the streets then. I was, like I said, on paper, I'm not homeless. I have a place in New York. I pay rent. That's where my kids stay. You know what I mean?
But that can change in a fucking 72 hours. How do they know?
I don't know.
Are there places, if you're hungry, is there places you can go
the
and
shelter, the mission, the city mission, it's a shakedown for when you first go in. You got to dump all your pockets. They put you through a metal detector. You got to fucking go. They wanted my ID. And all I wanted to do was get a meal. I didn't want to sleep there. I'm not sleeping there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a category. They
I
want to
cannot,
catalog you.
with my anxiety and shit, it's just the wrong place for me. So I knew that I couldn't stay there.
I'd be concerned, like, once you give them all that shit, you're in there, you might not leave there.
Exactly. And there's another thing. It's either the mental illness people are in there suffering or the people that chosen to accept their life as a bum. Just living on the system, living off the free food giveaways, and then flying signs, or maybe they collecting some kind of social security or welfare. I don't know everybody's story, but a lot of those stories are like that. And it's like I when I first got here, I went to the VA and I played a game. I immediately asked for my meds. I was like, I traveled without my meds. May I have them, please? Just to establish that I'm here. I'm taking my medicine like a good boy. I'm doing the right things.
How many pills did they want you to take?
At least twice a day. Two different prescriptions. Yeah, I left them wherever.
Do you know what they? I'm not asking you what they.
No,
Do
yeah,
you know what they are?
I know what they are, and
what they do.
They tweaked me. They you know what I mean. They, like I said, when I was in North Carolina, they were giving me shit that was just putting me out.
We had a kid work for us, and he was taking 13 different pills. And finally, Jeff goes, "Give me those. What is this one? What is this one? What is this one? When are you supposed to take them?" And he had pills from the VA was giving him something, psychologist was giving him something, and then general practitioner had given him something. And when Jeff looked them up, like we couldn't even identify what some, like we looked them up on a PDA, and when you look those things up, 7 of them said don't take what the other one could literally kill you.
Yeah.
And like there was no, like he didn't know when he was supposed to be taking them, what they were for. Like he didn't. They just kept fucking sending them to him.
They don't want to listen to you. Like when I told them that I had the opportunity to come out here and sit in this fucking seat with you right now, they fucking laughed at me. They're like, "You're delusional." I'm like, "You never heard of anybody ever?" I'm like, "You don't watch YouTube, man?" I'm like, "You don't believe me? Go online right now. Like you can see me chiming in on chats during your live chats. You can see you interacting with people, Like, I'm not delusional. This is real fucking shit, Like, yeah, I might hear voices in my head, but usually it's God, or if it's the devil trying to turn me the other way. I had a dream the other night that I was sleeping somewhere and you came up and kicked me and told me to fuck off and get the fuck out of here. I was a worthless piece of shit. That was yesterday morning.
Well, that'll probably happen.
I know, but it'll probably be out of love or something, yeah. But it was just trying to fucking put that doubt in my mind. So I'm just like, instead of being proactive and being constructive and creative and taking the bull by its horns and fucking coming here like I did today.
But maybe that dream was to motivate you to fucking not sit where you were.
Yeah.
Maybe possibly. It wasn't negative.
But I think maybe both. You're right. I didn't look at it that way, but I looked at it as
What'd I say when I walked up? What was the first thing I said to you?
You don't have a position here for me.
Was that the first thing or the second thing? The first thing I said is, what took you so fucking long?
Yeah, that was right. You're right. And I was going to say, be a smart ass and say, I blame it on the Sasquatch, but, I wasn't trying to be like that, not on our first encounter, I know we've chopped it up, but we never.
Funny.
Yeah, because it wasn't funny, like.
No, the Sasquatch would have been funny.
Yeah. It would have been funny, but it's like I said, I would have never left my children and my life. Not that it was great by any fucking means, like I was miserable in New York, just because of the way I didn't have a relationship with the mother of their children. She lays on the couch and she's on medicine too. She takes Suboxone. She's been taking it longer than she should have.
Suboxone is to get off of heroin?
Off of opiates that she was never, ever fucking
What's
on.
the other one? Methadone. What's the difference between those two?
Suboxone is a brain blocker. So it'll block your opiate receptors. It'll put a little plug in it. Methadone, on the other hand, you can still get high on methadone.
Methadone is
just something to tide you over. And I know a guy who's been on a methadone clinic for fucking 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
The guy
because somebody's making a fuck ton of money off of it.
Yeah. I know a guy, he's on it right now, and he was in the facility that I'm at, and he just, he works and shit. He's got a job, and he just moved out into his own apartment. Congratulations. But he's on the methadone, and that's a fucking road that they say those withdrawals are even worse. Like Suboxone withdrawals are worse because it's all synthetic shit. And I'll tell you from firsthand experience, opiate withdrawal ain't no fucking joke. And I couldn't imagine anything worse than that.
And that's all downer, right? That you want to sleep or you're kind of in a
Yeah,
zombie
yeah,
state.
yeah. Opiates will fucking knock you out. Well, until you build a tolerance for it. You know, I was a functioning addict, man.
I live on pre-workout. I could not imagine taking something to slow me down.
Well, uh,
Doesn't it usually come because it comes from like pain, right? It
yeah,
blocks
yeah.
pain, which is what it was
that's
for.
why I got it. I fell off a fucking roof, and I fractured my tibia, tore my meniscus, and my ACL, and I had to get surgery. Upon completion of the surgery and that, they gave me OxyContin. And for 3 years, I was on those OxyContin because I would rehab my knee, and then they're like, oh, we got to go back in. So they had to go operate on me 3 different times. So it was fucking a build up and then a setback, a build up and a setback, and a build up.
And is that all through the VA doing that?
No, that was a civilian. That was a civilian job. I fell off a roof one day because I was jonesing. I was,
What is jonesing? What's that mean?
I needed a pill.
Okay.
I was doing pills before I even got hurt. I was doing not bad, more like a weekend kind of fucking after work kind of thing, but I used to drink beer, and then I stopped drinking beers, and I would only do a pill or two on the weekend, and then that went from a pill or two on the weekend to a pill or two a day, and then it's 4 pills a day, and then it's 8 pills a day, and now I'm out here selling fucking drugs to fucking make my drugs for free. Like I said, when I would go up to the city in my 20s, it was never to hang out. It was always to pick up a couple thousand pills and come back to Buffalo.
There are people out on the streets that like take orders and stuff.
Probably you can get if you meet the right person, man.
I follow a YouTube channel. He fancies himself a rapper, skinny white guy. I don't know if he raps a couple things, but he just goes around to like the craziest places and jumps in with these different gangs and shows things from their perspective.
Oh yeah, I've seen that guy.
And he had one, and he met these girls, and he's like, "How do you make money?" And they're like, "We just take orders." He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, if you want Louis Vuitton, you just tell us, and we go steal it."
Oh yeah,
and
boosting.
Boosting, that's what it was called.
Boostin',
it was called boosting. Yeah, they had another.
Yeah, that's another way people make money.
Yep.
It's funny you say that because this weekend, seeing the bank likes to fuck with my money, and I didn't have access to it. I missed the big Jay Okerson show at Zany's. So I just practiced my First Amendment right. And I went across the street, and I was talking my shit. And, I was one of the guys that I met on the street. I thought he said he had 19 steaks, but he only had one. And I'm like, hey, Big J, I got 19 grass-fed steaks. You hungry? You want to help support a vet? I was just popping shit. I was angry that day. I didn't work out for like 2 days, I had some frustrations built up inside me. So, I was using that anger to fuel that fire, right? And I was just talking shit in the rain, and some kid came out, and I had my earbuds in. I don't fucking wear Bluetooth because that shit's evil for you. It'll fuck your brain up, I think. I just wear wired fucking plug-in shit. And I had them in, and I'm just writing because I had a great idea, and I'm writing out the business plan for that. It's like how white people can get their G pass. Like I can move, I can go in the hoods, in the ghettos.
What's a G pass?
Ghetto pass.
Ghetto pass. Okay.
Yeah. Like I got one in Buffalo. I got one in New York City. I got one here in Nashville. I can move like that. So I'm just out there writing how normal people can go about it and figure out a way. Maybe that will also bridge the gap between communities or something. It could be.
Do you think there's a problem? Is there racism out there? Is there a problem between black people, white people?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it goes both ways. All right. I've experienced it with certain bus drivers. That bus driver in North Carolina, a few.
But that's a black guy that doesn't like you because you're a white guy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. And then I've also seen white guys do it to black people. I didn't know the term Bubba was a fucking racial slur. I found that out here in Nashville.
And that's a white guy on
a white guy saying
to a black
white guy saying to a black guy.
I guess I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. But it's most people ain't like that, man. Honestly.
Yeah, I think most people are not.
They're not. I think it's all taught, and then the news doesn't fucking help out if you subscribe to that shit. I haven't watched TV in fucking 15, 16 years.
Well,
man.
we compartmentalize people. Like, you kind of stick together, right? If we put 1,000 people from everywhere, they're going to pack up.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially, you see it in jail all the time.
Yeah.
And then we've pushed all these people into these areas, or they were just in these areas, right? We didn't push them there. They just continued to breed and grow there, and then we removed the exits to the freeways, the food desert thing, shit like that, right? We removed the stops when the train would come past, or the bus stops.
And you cut them off from...
Yeah.
From,
so they stay there,
yeah.
and they think everything's great over here, and we look at how depressed this is because they're not taking care of it, and we're not putting any money into it. So we're like, we definitely don't want it. That's the wrong side of the tracks, you know.
And even being white, I didn't get any white privilege. It's like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
if I don't get up and do the same shit I do every day, the money stops coming.
Exactly. And it's like, even if you walk around with a backpack, or I usually have my paintings with me or something, people just assume I'm homeless. Like I said, on paper, there's paper, you know? I have assets, not a lot, but a few. And they won't even look you in the eye. I remember I can even show you on one of my back of my paintings, I wrote, I don't do drugs. All I want to do is get to 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, because I wanted to go, while I was up there, you know, I wanted to go check out 10th Planet, you know. I fucking...
Where is that at?
Up in Brentwood.
Really?
Yeah. So I signed up for the free class, you know, and I was talking with the guy, and, you know, I sent him some pictures. I was like, hey, my mother always taught me to bring something, you know, and I don't have money for classes right now, but I'm an artist. I hope this can bide me over, you know, until I get paid, you know, on payday on the 1st. And he replied back, come down, you know what I mean? So, all right, cool. Shit happened that day where I was derailed a few times, you know, like not able to get up there, right?
Was it Bigfoot?
No, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. It was just somebody that I thought was a like-minded individual wasn't. And they hampered me that whole day, the whole fucking day. And it was like, bro.
So when you say you work out, what's workout look like?
I'll get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning. I try to pattern myself after you, because if you're up, I want to be up. So I'm up, and I like to ruck. I like to walk. So I put a heavy ruck on, and I'm just fucking out there rucking, and I'm hitting all the big hills, and then I go backwards, and, you know.
Do any go ruck stuff?
What's that?
Have you heard of go ruck?
Yeah.
I think they meet up in Nashville
Yeah,
some of the parks and
seen,
shit.
I seen a guy wearing a t-shirt, and I asked him about it. He's like, oh, just look it up online. He's like, I'm not running it this year, so I don't know anything about it. So I was like, all right, cool. But I haven't looked it up yet.
Cool.
Other things to do. But yeah, that's what I do. You know, like you said, you just got to lift heavy shit. You know, I'll fucking pick up a cinder block and fucking curl it. I'll throw extra rocks in my ammo can that I keep my paints in, and I just use that for a weight. You know, Monday nights when I help put away the mic shit for the open mic, I fucking carry the speakers, and I'll just fucking curl those, you know, like anything.
Yeah, you should get you a sandbag.
I stole one. Well, I borrowed one from the city. I mean, you know what I mean?
No, I mean they make like a workout sandbag that has handles and shit on it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, they got them laying all over.
Yes, you're
They got 'em
right.
laying
Yes.
all over, holding down the signs.
Yes.
You know, like and.
Well, I stole one.
Yeah, I borrowed it. It's still there in the city limits.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just like, you know, I'm not trespassing until I'm caught. You know, fucking.
Well, they have to trespass you.
Yeah.
You have to give you a signed warrant. Are you going to physically trespass me? That now I'm warned. Now it'll be a crime the second time.
But I put the word on the street because a couple of the bums were sniffing around my area, you know, and I heard them saying, hey, how'd he get in there? And I'm like, this is private fucking property. I just bought the building. Don't get any fucking ideas. So I just shoot them right off, you know. And like I said, I don't like to look like a person from the streets. I carry myself. I try to stay clean. I fucking wash my clothes in the fucking sink that I had. You know, I dry them on the roof. I try to look as normal as possible, like blend in like an octopus. You know,
You'll do fine during the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm. During the day, you know, I would.
Have you ever seen the homeless camp on the way into Nashville? There's I don't know, Charlotte Pike, I think. There's a Target over here, but if you go the other way under the bridge, there's a Cracker Barrel. And then there's a Lowe's, and there's a huge encampment down there of blue tarps and shit.
Yep, tarps. Yeah, I seen it the other day going to it was either on a Sunday going down that way for church on the east side, or I was going.
How do you choose where you're going to church?
The first church I went to was downtown, and the only reason I went in there was because they had a tour of the building, and I wanted to see inside the building, because it's a huge old building.
Old buildings.
And cool building, beautiful oak, red oak inside of it. I don't remember the name, but
Pause for a second. I gotta pee. All right, so I said church. You were telling me about the church. You went in for a tour.
Yeah, beautiful building. The stained glass in there was amazing.
Yeah.
There's two stained glass pieces that spoke out to me. One was the way they made it. The light, the lantern that the guy had, the person had, is always glowing. So that's super cool. And then the other one was the Archangel Michael coming through, and he had a couple soldiers behind him.
Do you have a sword?
Yep. Yeah, so I was praying hard on that one, crying one day. It's the only time I really cry is at church. Why?
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just missing my children for one.
But why are you open to it there, and not other times?
Good question. I think is maybe I feel it's a safe place.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't give a shit really. Like I said, I don't really care what people think about me. They all thought I was crazy because I came I was
at church.
Yeah. I came there with my ruck, and I had to change. I didn't want to be unpresentable, so I put on a shirt. But I had to pull all my shit out to get to it, and I went to the service in that, and they were nice in that, but I ended up meeting a veteran who works in the area where I was staying. The guy that gave me the food that night of the snowstorm, and he told me, he's like, "Hey man, I actually got a message from God. I hope it don't trip you out, but he told me to tell you to come to my church." So I wrote down the address, and I went there on Sunday, and I thought it was cool, like I said, but then came a few things. Like I said, the guy's driving the Jaguar, and there's a whole, what I mean, like just things like you were saying. I'm not either Christian enough or Catholic enough to conform to these things. Some things that I say, like things that I hold close to my heart, like I have crystals in my pocket right now.
What are they?
I've got an amethyst. I've got.
Why?
I think it gives me clarity and power.
Where'd you get these?
That one I made myself. I'm a rock hound. These ones I just picked up from the crystal spot right down on 8th Avenue because I lost a few in the field out running around, and so they sent me some money, so I had to get
Why those specific ones?
Protection. This one is blue. It's supposed to help with my train of thought so I don't get off the rails so much for when I'm doing comedy. This is amethyst, just super powerful. This is an agate. I made it myself, and these are jaspers, two different jaspers, and for protection. And same with that. I had another black one on this hand, but
something just dropped.
Oh, yeah, it's just garbage. And then I keep dice in my other pocket.
Why the dice?
Well, on New Year's, I wrote the theory of Tesla. Power of 369 is immeasurable, right? And then I woke up in the morning because I'm such a party animal. I was just in my attic just painting and doing that. And I woke up in the morning and I wrote down the date for some reason in my notebook. And the date was 1124, right? If you add those numbers up, it's 8. If you turn it 8 sideways, you get infinity. So I was like, oh shit, it's infinity year. It's like our fucking year. If you put in the work, like you said, if you have a dream, you put in the work, and you build a plan, everything's going to be accomplished,
So what's your dream?
Generational wealth.
How are you going to do that?
I think with my comedy, my spoken word, and some merch, and hopefully I find somebody that's got a lot of money that likes my art.
That's the answer right there.
Yeah. That was one of the messages I got. Being out on her family's property, there's a quarry. They have a quarry, and they sell slate, shale.
That's fucking cool.
and I go there and that's where I do my training.
What is that?
I stay sharp. I got I
Like Mad Ninja skills?
yeah
Skateboard? What training?
yeah, shooting.
Okay.
And just basically shooting in the quarry.
Okay.
That's all I do. But I bought a metal detector. Like I said, I started doing things, rock hounding.
What kind of metal detector did you get?
Actually, I got it from the store Broken Dreams, the pawn shop.
Okay.
It's a really good one. It'll tell you exactly what's in the ground, how many feet down it is. It'll pinpoint it. You don't even.
What's the coolest shit you ever found?
Fucking huge ass quartz, big. I still have it. Two of them. I've got one about this long, whole big thing of quartz.
Is it one spire or is it
no,
like
it's
amethyst?
It's like ore. It's like ore, and it's got gold in it. And I've
yeah, it usually comes with gold.
Yeah, I've crushed some of it down. I've alchemy. I can show you my painting. I've got a big alchemy symbol in the one, and I would crush it down. I watched a YouTube video, crushing it down, cooking it in a cast iron skillet, which will fucking rob the oxygen, and it the gold bonds to the thing, to another molecule or whatever. I'm not a scientist. But then you take that, add some lead to it, and put it in bone ash, and then heat that up real hot, and the bone ash sucks the lead in, and it leaves the gold and or silver.
Another way to do it is with acid or something.
Yeah. I'm not fucking with acid and shit. I tried it. That's from what I researched. It's more for if you're smashing up cell phones.
Okay, maybe that's where I saw that. Maybe so.
If you're doing like the fingers from old computers, old computer boards and stuff, that's the way you want to go.
Got it.
Soak that in.
You ever been to any like gem and mineral shows?
No, I've never been, but I've got I've been to a couple of crystal shops and stuff like that, and I've got a sweet geode. It's a double-sided geode with all red crystal in it.
We were at a the best mineral show we've been to, because they have them around Nashville and stuff, but they're small, they're kind of lame. But we went to one in I think we went to Louisville, or maybe it was Bowling Green, and there's a dude cracking open geodes.
Oh yeah,
and they have water in them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he was drinking, and he goes,
yeah,
this is 80,000 year old water or whatever. I'm
And
like, holy shit.
The cool thing about geodes, when they crack them, you're the first person to ever lay eyes on that.
Yeah.
Like my buddy I was telling you about, he retired Sergeant Major Jeff. He lives in Missouri, and that's what him and his kids do. They like going geo hunting. And
you can go right into Arkansas, and they've got some open pit mines.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they just bring in these big tractors, scoop this shit out, and you go through, and a lot of time it's raining, it's full of mud and shit. But you find these huge quartzes and smoky quartz and stuff. And you just go in there, and I think it's like $14 a day.
Yeah, it's cheap. The same thing in New York. They got the Herkimer diamonds.
Uh-huh.
Yep, that's right by us. And I've been testing the grounds of where I was, on their property, and I'm pretty sure I could find them. You know what I mean? Because it's not far off. It's only a few miles and across the lake from where I was. So I'm sure if I
there's cave systems all through Tennessee and Kentucky and shit.
If right conditions, right part of the property, I'm sure they have it. You know what I mean? Because I've found so many cool rocks there, and it's funny because we call them lucky stones. It's a stone and it has a natural hole in it, and she's like, yeah, Kate, baby mama too, I call her, and she's like, yeah, they come the one point of their property, you can just walk in, dip your hand in the water, and you just pull out handfuls of them. And I thought that's where they came from naturally, everywhere in the world. And I was like, I can't believe this is the home of the lucky stone. And she's like, no, you fucking idiot. They're everywhere. You ever
see grindstones, grist mills? Those big, huge, from
corn?
They're for doing corn or grain or whatever, but they make them out of, I don't know what, granite. I think they're made out of granite. I've seen them, yeah. But you see them occasionally, just in people's front yards and shit. But some people are taking those and resurfacing them and making it so you can actually use those again.
Yeah, that's what
we used to have to put everything near running water. And there's some cool shit on the way into Nashville. They're just parks now, but you're like, what was this? And it's because the water turned and they were running a sawmill or they were running a grist mill.
That's the same thing on her family property, right along. It's a little gully there, and then they had an old lumber shop there, and it's collapsed now and just the foundation's left. But I just like hanging out over there, and when it'd be, the rains would come, fucking downhill and right into the water, and I just go through with the metal detector and boop boop, hit for a gold spot, So I fucking scoop it out, pan it, and I'd find a little bit of gold. And
Yeah.
no, I didn't, because in New York that's illegal.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, you can't. New York wants that gold. So you have to put it back in the ground, which I did because I am not a bad guy.
It's fucking crazy. All right, man. Well, we could keep going on this. We'll do this another time
Yes, sir.
again.
Thank you.
I just wanted to sit down and talk for a minute. I had no idea what we were going to talk about or what's going to come out. And I've had a good time, learned some things.
Yeah, me too.
And we'll go back inside now.
Yeah. All right.
Which piece of music should I use? Hey, rap. Give me something.
Oh, come on, man. Off the top.
Let me hear part of your act or something. Give me something funny.
All right. I'm Skylow. I'm the human oxymoron, deceptively honest. I'm clearly misunderstood. If you're out on the streets and, you're looking for a girl, the best place to find them is Mondays down at Riverfront, the mobile shower, because they're fucking clean. You could take them home to mama. You don't bring them right in the house at first. You leave them in the shed or in the yard a little bit, give them a short leash, and they'll work their way in the house.
If you get one that limps, she can't run away as fast.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's funny because I got a couple weird looks when I saw that one last night, but I said, fuck you. I'm out here living homeless, I can joke about it because I am. But I'm not. You know what I mean? Fuck them if they can't take a joke. It's fucking comedy, fuckers.
All right.
All right.
Trying to tell